Morning, everybody. Hello, hello.
Good morning,
Hey, Chad.
Mr. Kinsley.
I'm still admitting people. Give me just a moment here. Chad, tell me something good.
It is Wednesday, meaning we're only 2 days away from Friday. The business is starting to pick up. Retailers are saying that the pent-up demand is alive and well, and that it was a much better month for May than April.
Much better for May than April. I'm hearing the same things.
And that's good.
Hey, you know what, Chad? Do me a study here if you would. And would you tell people, oh shoot, did I mute? Okay, I'm back. I think I froze on us. Chad, I was going to ask, would you do me a study and tell people what Nationwide is doing with the Back to Business Hub?
We've worked with our vendor partners, worked with retailers and their best practices, and we have compiled a ton of data onto MemberNet and even onto nationwide.org to help our retailers utilize the steps to get back into business safely and effectively. So I would invite everybody to go to nationwide.org and check out all the great content that's out there.
Cool. Yeah, nationwidegroup.org. I love the Back to Business Hub. It really is something that I pop in there, kind of pay attention to some of the resources you guys are gathering up. And it's not just Nationwide members, it's anybody. So if you're a vendor partner, if you're on the producer side of the business and you have retailers you're trying to serve and help them navigate things, yeah, it's a great spot. Mark Quinn.
How are you, Kinsley?
Look at that fancy microphone.
It's brand new. It's for the podcast, but it works really well for Zoom too.
Everybody was giving me a hard time about having the microphone set up. And I'm like, I respect our audience so much that I'm going to make this crystal clear and crisp.
Let me tell you, this microphone is so big, you can hear the dog barking in the background, and that's in the house 3-4 doors down from me.
That's not Wrigley.
No, that's not Wrigley. Hey, before we get started, I just wanted to thank everyone for the well wishes. My mother passed, as I assume that was talked about at some point, because I got a lot of messages, so it really means a lot. So thanks for the support, everyone. Anyone who's gone through anything like that knows what that's like. I had not personally. So Kinsley and I recorded a podcast yesterday, parts of it through some choked up tears, but anyway, it's awesome. Oh, buddy, are you ready? You're in the hot seat, my man. Can you hear us?
Hey,
Kevin?
how's it going, guys? Yep. I was muted, so I'm now not muted.
Hey, you know what?
So it's good to be here.
Kevin, let's so first of all, Kevin Split, City Furniture. First, Kevin's been very involved with all the Campfire calls, and we appreciate that so much. City Furniture, an amazing business, service to the community. They have innovative ways they've been responding to everything COVID and beyond. But before we get into kind of some of the learnings maybe that you're able to pass along, Kevin, give us the Kevin Split story. Give us your background. Tell people about yourself, what you like, maybe even what you don't like. We just want to know about you.
So I think the first Campfire, I think we were telling embarrassing stories. And the fun thing about me, I've been with City Furniture now for 17 years. So I started in 2003, just a dumb college kid looking for a job. And the funny thing about me is that I kind of grew up with Keith's son, Andrew Koenig, through growing up through high school. And funny thing was that one summer I used to fly up to Elon. I was at FSU, and one summer I was going to hang out with him and his buddies. And if those who don't know Elon, North Carolina, it's a very small school. They only have one bar in the whole place, so it's actually, you get to know a lot of people when you visit there. But we're driving around, and Keith, his dad, is on the phone, and Andrew goes to his dad and says, "Hey, Dad, I think Kevin should do the sales internship at City Furniture." And Keith's like, "Sure, yeah, have him come by. We'd love to have him start working here." So, of course, I've never worked for a furniture store. In fact, my whole family's background market here in the South. When I got back from Elon, North Carolina to South Florida, I'm thinking it's summer vacation. I'm going to go to the beach. So here I am with a wife beater on, with board shorts and sandals with a backwards hat, going into City Furniture to pick up an application for the sales internship job. So I walk in there, everybody looks at me like, who the hell is this guy? And he can't be serious. Like, we're not going to have him work here. Like, there's no way. So the funny thing is, I was, confirmed with Keith Koenig via phone that this job I could do. And here I am telling HR managers and stuff that I need to speak to Keith Koenig right away because he knows the situation. He knows that I came down here to get a job. Well, in all my life, knowing Mr. Koenig, never has he ever been angry or cursed any profanity ever around my presence, to where here I am sitting in his office, to where I can hear him barreling down the hallway, comes through the door, slams the door and says, "What the fuck are you doing coming here looking like that?" And I said, "I came here for a job." And he goes, "Listen, Kevin, the internship started today. You have 1 hour to go home, put on a white, clean, crisp shirt. And I mean crisp. I want to be like military crisp. Pants, dress shoes, and a tie. And I'll bring you down for the second half of the day." So funny thing is, I run home, I get dressed. The best part is Andrew Koenig calls me and says, "What the hell did you do at the corporate office? My dad is screaming at me. What happened?" And I said, it looks like I got a job. So I get back to corporate, all ready to go. Keith literally takes me down by my neck, shows me into the training room, and says, "Here, everybody, this is Kevin Split. He's here to learn. Kevin, go find a seat." So to this day, I always say, when everybody talks about who hired who, I say, well, I'm Keith's hire, and I've been here for 17 years. So that's my story. I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Kinsley, I think he's on mute.
I was just going to
Kevin,
follow
I'm
up
just
with.
glad I'm glad you survived it, Kevin. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Kinsley.
I mean,
But
just
you're
at any point, Kevin, do you just for fun walk in with a backwards hat and a wife beater on and go up to Keith?
So what's funny was I was in sales. I was a sales internship. I didn't take the merchandising management manager job for Mattress Buyer until late November 2016. So it's funny. I was talking to my dad about having the promotion and coming back to corporate because I was doing sales that whole time, running showrooms across South Florida, and I thought it would be a great joke to actually show up on my first day of work with a backwards hat and a wife beater and board shorts, saying I'm here for the buying job. But no, I didn't do that. But that was one thing that definitely crossed my mind.
All right, if that bubbles back up, you got to roll tape on that, okay? So it was kind of interesting timing right there, and I think very appropriate because if you're going to gather around the campfire, somebody's going to drop an F-bomb, and several people joined right as Kevin dropped which I assume will be the first F-bomb of the meeting. I might have a few that are going to come out. Who knows? But yeah. This is just as a reminder for those just hopping on. This is Kevin Split, City Furniture. Kevin's been really involved. He was telling us a little bit about himself, and we always like to start with an embarrassing story, which is fun. What's it been like over 17 years at City Furniture? How have you seen things grow, and what are some of the kind of hallmark moments or those big benchmarks you've noticed along the way?
Well, I had the pleasure of being one of these people that was never attached to a certain location. So I have been able to see our company blossom throughout the state. And, you know, the state of Florida is a pretty big state. So like, for example, when we wanted to open up across the West Coast, which not California, we're talking about Naples and Fort Myers, Florida. When we wanted to go over there, I actually took the initiative to go there. And I got to tell you, talk about, you know, flying to a new planet or opening up in a new territory. It was quite interesting to see everything come from full fruition, from building the store to then seeing us open up in a whole new market and be able to be accepted into that community. And I think that's something that we've done now since, and we've done that now in Orlando. We're soon to do that hopefully next year in Tampa. And I got to say that that's one of the biggest things I think we learn is that we are able to, with our business model, go into different territories and open to where people are literally knocking at the door for us to be there, which is good when you think about market share. So for me, seeing us grow, because when I first started, like we weren't even an Ashley licensee yet. And since then, since 2004, we became an Ashley licensee, and now we have, we have over 13 Ashley home stores, plus our 19 City Furniture. So altogether, we have 32 showroom locations. Soon, we're about to open our 14th Ashley home store, which will be in September, right before Labor Day, in our North Miami location. So I think the biggest thing I can say is that growing with the company and seeing it grow, because there's unfortunately, a lot of companies out there that don't grow, and just kind of hope that things will hopefully change for the luck of them. And I think that one of the positive things I've seen for our company in the years I've been here is the growth.
So talk about that moment whenever people are knocking at the door, waiting on City Furniture to show up in their communities. What do you think makes that so? Was there, you know, did you pave the way in some with certain things in those communities? Had word spread around Florida that you guys were great to do business with? You know, what do you think drove that foot traffic or led to that demand?
So it's a great question. I think really I have to contribute to our leaders. You know, Keith has always been a huge contributor of giving back to the community. In fact, last year we made it an actual statement for everybody that we're do business with, is that we actually we do a 5% giving back pledge. So our 5% of our total revenue proceeds will be going back to the community all throughout the state of Florida. So I think that's one thing that people really resonate to, is that who's giving back. The next thing we did last year was we actually started our to be carbon neutral by 2040. So it's our environmental promise to the community that we're going to be carbon neutral come 2040, and we're going to be able to do that. We actually just did a purchase order for 5 Tesla semis to start rolling through next year, just to kind of be able to share that green story. We have natural gas trucks. We do so many different things, and just to kind of pivot to sleep. I mean, we do so many things too. Obviously, we're Ashley Sleep with our home store partnership with our Hope to Dream, but we even started out with City Furniture on our Giving Hope that we partner with several sports teams. Like we're with Orlando City, the soccer team up there, the Florida Marlins, Miami Dolphins. So I think our presence in the community has been a big impact to where before we even went to Orlando last year or the year before that, we were becoming sponsorships, huge sponsors for big events like the Ecoe Music Festival, which I beg Andrew that we could do it again, because it was like this huge. In fact, Mark Quinn, you were there. You remember that?
I was there,
yeah, okay.
and
So,
the VIP section, and I think I remember drinking some beer with some people there.
Yeah. So, but that we weren't even open yet, you know. So we were just trying to get our name out there in the community, and I think the biggest thing is that you have to give back to get. You know, I think that's one thing that everybody should resonate with, is that you can't be selfish in this world, and that people do want to invest in somebody who's investing in their community, investing in their well-being. In fact, our purpose here at City Furniture is to enrich people's lives and make the world a better place. We say that every morning, every meeting, and that's what our credo, and that's what we live by.
That's good purpose. Kevin, one of the things I love about City is that you guys are innovative. So not just in approach, I think you're creating some cool experiences with the wine bars that you guys are putting in and trying to make it more about the shopping experience. So I love that part. But in addition to that, you guys have done some stuff. You had a Waterbed launch, and you went kind of back at that. And then you did some unique stuff with different sizes. You've got a new extra big king size bed. You guys aren't afraid to push outside of the norm and try some different things. Can you talk a little bit about what that means to City, the culture of innovation, and just how helpful you think it is in terms of driving business?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I kind of sometimes take for granted is that we have a lot of Keith and Andrew and James and our team, that our leadership team lets us merchants really expand our horizon when it comes to product development. And really, the Waterbed, I can't really take much credit for because that's Keith's baby. You know, to this day, Keith still sleeps on a waterbed. For those that don't know about our background at City Furniture, we started in 1971 as Waterbed City, a 1,400 square foot showroom. Kevin Koenig, who's Keith's brother, had only $1,500 and an MBA from Florida Atlantic University and started the first waterbed store in South Florida. That has then grown to City Furniture. So from 1,400 square feet to 120,000 square foot showrooms, that's one thing. So one of the things that we really, that Keith and Andrew has really made sure that is it's actually one of our virtues is the entrepreneurial spirit, is that everybody here is an entrepreneur. Everybody here is part of the business, but everybody here has to run their business as their own. Just like our sales managers, they treat the showrooms as their own showrooms. And of course, we have here, that's why it's great to have standards in place and best practices. But mainly what is going on is, like Mark's example, 2 years ago, in fact, it was about March of 2018, we launched the float. We brought back the waterbed after 50 years of its creation. And we brought that back with Charlie Hall, who was the original inventor of the waterbed, and Keith Koenig and a couple of his waterbed buddies. It was actually like trying to get the Rolling Stones back together to get back on tour. Because it's like, first of all, there's a lot of different things that have changed in the environment. One of them is e-commerce, which they had not much interest about. Because you got to think, all right, you want to DTC a waterbed? How's that going to work, right? So luckily for me, being the kind of the young whippersnapper on the team, I was able to gain some insight. But then from there, we've had success with that. In fact, we don't have it displayed everywhere, but believe it or not, waterbeds do still sell. So far since that initial launch date, we sold about 180 plus waterbeds. Our biggest fan favorite that we've been able to really expand on has been our Florida King. Our Florida King is literally 108 by 80. In fact, we got people looking at it right now as I speak in the gallery, because it literally is the big giant ball of yarn on exit 66. I mean, it is like going into Magic Kingdom, walking to that castle that gravitates you to the center. And that's really what we have brought in with our Florida King. We've already sold since last year over 225 of these beds. And we don't just do the bed. We do, because the thing, when you think about 108 by 80, that's literally two full-size extra long sewn together. Okay, we not only made the bed, we also worked as a team with our case goods merchants and everything, and we brought even an upholstered bed that comes in 2 different colors. And not only is it an upholstered bed, it's a storage bed. Then we also, last year, we also not only want to bring in really cool things about sleep, like we launched Purple about 2 weeks ago, but we also want to be able to sell sleep. So the next thing we did last year was actually import our own top of bed program. I mean, we went all the way. We sent our resourcing managers to Al Karam, India, or probably Pakistan, and sourced our own sheets from Al Karam. So where we have 5 different sheet options starting at $59.95 all the way to $120. Then we also sourced our own pillow programs, one of them from healthcare, which is our own memory foam program, which starts at $39. And then we also got with Citifu. Citifu is actually a manufacturer who makes top of bed for all your top hotels, the Ritz-Carlton, the W. They actually even make the Heavenly Bed, believe it or not. But you got to look at it. People actually buy the Heavenly Bed when they go stay at one of these hotels. And that is a pretty big price point. So that's the other thing is, like, where is the customer buying these sleep products, right? They're going to Target, Walmart, Bed Bath & Beyond, Amazon, Wayfair. Like, we got to understand where the market is in our business and understand that, hey, if I don't have a $19.95 down alternative pillow that comes in side, stomach, back, I'm losing the competition, right? So we have to be able to resonate. Now, don't forget, we still have brand products. I mean, I have all the way from Tempur-Pedic to Beauty Rest to Serta and Sealy, they're top of bed products as well, plus Purple, that resonates with brand, because people do have brand loyalty, believe it or not. So where that's kind of what we've done. And yet those are the things that we've been able to drive that really gets the customer to want to come in. The main job for me is to drive traffic into the store. And if I don't do that, we lose.
Got it.
Talk about driving traffic a little more, Kevin. This is obviously a hot topic. Chad was there. Chad Fisher was there. I don't know if he's still on the call, but and Melanie was there. We gave a speech at Nationwide's primetime event back in February in Houston, and the entire topic of the speech was dedicated to driving foot traffic. How do independent retailers drive foot traffic to their stores? Post-COVID, that's even probably more challenging as people kind of poke their heads back up and figure out how to navigate the new environment. What are some other ways that you have driven foot traffic? I mean, you talk about some very unique, innovative products, the giant Florida size mattress. What else you talked about giving? What else is out there that you concentrate on that really does quantifiably bring traffic into a store?
So it's really from clicks to bricks. At the end of the day, it's easier said than done, but it really is. Once you start that engagement with your associate online, and that's really what's been helping with our chat team that we implemented as we had kind of in that COVID moment, has been able to convert them to come in. And really from an advertising spending, the best thing about this is that we didn't stop our advertising strategy when COVID happened. In fact, we got with our partners and started to negotiate on those terms on what we could do, because they didn't only needed the business, but we did too. And we kept impressions strong. That's the biggest thing, is what's your impression in the market? It's not just obviously TV and radio. It's also that once they go onto your website and start looking for your product, what's your then engagement with that customer? Are you then having email campaigns that are reaching out to that customer, or reaching out about the product that we're interested in? Then you can connect with a chat person, which again, we've implemented our own sales team in chat, which is better than having a customer service agent who knows where trying to chat with a customer that doesn't know your story, doesn't know your brand, doesn't know who you are, to where we have our people doing that story for our customers and then really driving them into the store. So really it just comes from human emotion, human presence, and really that touch. And I know this is a virtual touch that I'm talking about, but virtual touch eventually comes to physical. And that's what we have to do. Because honestly, we're transacting online.
That is one of the things when you and I toured your facilities. Number one, blew me away. It was process. Like, you guys are incredibly good at process and managing and metrics and all of that stuff. But the way you guys have dove into, charged into the e-commerce space is pretty impressive. You have a very big team managing social media, driving content, working on SEO, all of that stuff. How big is that now in terms of your culture? And aren't you glad you guys were doing that before the COVID thing hit? Because I assume that it paid off big time for you when all this stuff hit.
Yeah, I think what was good, back to what I was saying about our advertising strategy, if we didn't have the good partnerships that we had before COVID, it wouldn't be the same story. So the fact that we invested so much in all these partners and invested so much in our digital space, like our digital space was literally a 40-man operation, man and woman operation, to where it's not just the website, it's the email campaign, it's social, it's digital, it's the whole thing, as far as even from graphic designing, to where it lives through. Now, if Keith was on this right now, he would tell you we're not even close to where we need to be digitally, because he looks at Amazon and Wayfair on a daily basis and sees the content that is on their websites. We are not even close when it comes to content. So that's the next step, is to get more content. So literally, because look at it, I don't know if anybody else on this call does, but I don't really see this working from home going away anytime soon. And from working from home, people are in their homes more than they ever have been in their whole lives with this COVID situation and everything else that's going on in the world. So we're really fixing the space, fixing their home is really the great thing to be in the furniture business right now. And I think that's what the great promising. I mean, we had one of the best May we've ever had coming out of COVID. And we weren't even at 100% staffing. We still aren't at 100% staffing. And that just shows you that need and that drive, that desire to make their homes better. So where we're trying to look at this market too and say, we want everybody to refresh their sleep. To where I think I'm going to start using adjustable bases as the next home office.
Hey, speaking of adjustables, quick question. Do you feel like people are spending less money on the mattress so that they can buy the adjustable bed base? Or so do you think there's any trade down there, Kevin,
I think that to the unutilized customer, meaning that a customer that is literally buying based on their own perception of what they think will work, yes. But to someone that's actually being taken through the process and showing the benefits of sleep and the benefits of the brands and what the features and benefits are throughout what we carry through the lineup, I think that's not the case. But we are seeing that change, obviously, from an online perspective. Our online, business was up almost 207% total business. Mattresses, however, were up 280%. So that's last week, by the way. Our average unit selling price online is $225. So those who don't know us, again, I mentioned Keith. He wants to go after Amazon. I don't know if we're going to beat him, but he also said, he does this analogy of Jeff Bezos having an army of people with guns and bow and arrows across the river coming after us. They're going to come after our market. They're going to eventually take us away. Years ago, it was the cockroaches that come underneath the door. You don't see them coming in your home, but they're there. He's a great passionate leader to where he's showing you, he's doing all the analytics, all the data mining of saying, here's what's going on in the market. Here's where the business is being fooled. We have to go after that business. So where we brought in last year, $99 mattresses, 6-inch bone coil mattresses, roll packs, free ship to your door. Why? Because we have to. And that's really what you're seeing is online, is that lower price point strategy. But guess what? Why should Amazon take $2 billion out of our market? We should go after that money. Even though it's small units, small potatoes, every unit counts at the end of the day.
Talk a little more about that, Kevin. A lot of people say if you play someone else's game, they're going to be better at it than you. So if you play Amazon's game, they're going to be better than you. How do you think about that? How do you think about it strategically? Talk more about that.
Well, there's a lot of, you can really probably break out like a fishbone diagram on this and say, how would I beat Amazon, right? And you got to look at, not only the people aspect, because there is that, thing where there's not that personal aspect, or you're online, you're not working with a sales associate or working with on a chat team. You are some cases, but again, like I said, Amazon's already beating us as we are. I mean, I just mentioned that earlier. We don't have the content that Amazon has, and that's kind of where you look at the partnerships, like some of these the things I'm talking about, I'm importing these things. There's not a big awareness to online strategy from someone you import products from. They're not thinking about the end result or the end user of saying, how can I help City Furniture drive my business even more? But then you look at some of the other big guys, like they have, look at Tempur-Pedic, look at SSB, TSI, like they have content on their website where I think for some of us, it's just the bandwidth that you have to be able to do it. So where everybody wants this true zenith of best in class, but Amazon just has the power to continue to develop that. Well, now again, their average unit selling price is about $120, but I'm also saying that there's other content out there. Like look at Purple. Like Purple is able to drive so much content, so much to deliver, and their strategy. Ever since I started doing Purple, my Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, it's blown up with Purple, right? And that's the kind of thing you have to be able to compete with. Yeah, you might be playing a different game, but there's different rules. And you just need to know what those rules are. If you can figure that out, you'll have a niche. I'm not saying we're ever going to do $2 billion in the industry where, I'm killing Amazon and Amazon's going to start crying away. I mean, I'm one of the top, I'm 27 out of the top 100. But as together, we can. And that's where there's a secret sauce out there that we all could share from.
Let's go back to what you mentioned earlier. And I think it dovetails really nicely with what you just captured there, how you're approaching the marketplace, how you're thinking about competition. You mentioned that City Furniture is very entrepreneurial in nature. I've heard people say this in businesses. We have an entrepreneurial culture. We encourage that, and they really don't. It sounds like you actually do. I mean, I can tell you have an extreme sense of ownership about the environment and the piece of the business you work on and how you're leading your team. Talk about how you maintain that entrepreneurial culture, how you build it, and maybe even some fails along the way where people tried things and didn't quite work out.
Oh, yeah. So probably the best thing that I think Andrew Koenig ever did, which really has helped our company, was he spent 3 weeks in Japan learning the Toyota way. And, you got to think, this is a kid coming out of Elon, North Carolina, hasn't worked for his, maybe hung out with his dad in the office a couple times, but really went and learned lean and as an operation, and then brought that learning and that culture to City Furniture, to where it was like, at first, yeah, it was like, what is this guy doing? Like, we're not doing this. Like, is he out of his mind? And he would show different little projects here and there to where it kept getting improvements, to where it also had respect to people. Like, we got to get the people. So what Andrew has been able to develop for the last 15 years, as we keep going through this lean journey, is really the strategies and problem solving suggestions from our own associates from the ground up. So what we've done, and it's one of the best things I love to show people when they come to the facility, is I show them our 9-step problem solving. It's called our City Circle. And what we do is we take people, like in this call, say we're all from different types of the departments, and there's a problem that we need to solve. It's a way to bring in points of view from all different types of departments to work. They work on this for a whole quarter. They work on it for 90 days. So where they break down the problem, find the root cause, come up with countermeasures, and then implement that to that department. So you could have someone working in accounting that's working on the operations department, or sales is working on a customer service department. And then you have all these people working together, sharing what the options and suggestions could be, to where that is, I mean, there's millions and millions of dollars on ROI that we've got from really having our associates problem solve to grow our business, to grow our culture. And that's where our culture is. So where right now, with COVID, it's brought so much opportunity to literally, we burnt our sales structure to the ground, burn it down. And then as we brought people back, we brought in this new structure because you couldn't do that if business was as usual. You couldn't implement something different as people were still doing the same thing. Because people were out of work, because people weren't here, we were able to reorganize our structure and our sales leadership and our sales department to where now we're able to do a lot more. So I've even worked on a couple of different tools. Like, one of our biggest problems are, I need to get more swings at bat. You know, we're a furniture store. We're not just a mattress store. And, you know, we want to be this ultimate furniture and mattress store in South Florida. So some of the things I've been doing is implementing something like simple as this, giving $25 gift cards to people to test rest for Starbucks. And we're testing that here at our corporate store right now because we want to, and we're testing things. We always want to test and learn, but that's just certain things. If you've heard of other retailers giving gifts with purchases or giving some incentive, and we're just trying different things right now, which is really exciting because it's that opportunity to do those things. It's a whole new world out there. And the customer is even more endangered than it ever was before in this market, especially if you're in other markets that don't do well so far, like the restaurant business. So that's things that we're testing. And that's the best part about that, going back to the entrepreneurial spirit of like, I can try something and see if it works, test and learn, show the data, see if it proves a point, and then implement. But the best thing is you build the standard. You can't just go to someone and say, hey, today I want you to do this. You have to be able to coach and develop them and show them the standard and train them to where they can be effective. You do not want to give, I think one of the associates told me best, you know, Batman never really was successful just from his tool belt. Because everyone always talks about the tool belt. You know, oh, I'm putting more tools in your tool belt. But Batman was never really successful. He had other people helping him, like Robin, and you know, I forgot the other guy. But either
how about
way,
Alfred? How about Alfred, Kevin?
Alfred, yeah. So those are your leaders. Yeah, those are your leaders and your teammates that are there to help guide you and help you go through that direction together as a team.
So let me get this straight. You bring them in and get them jacked up on Starbucks coffee so they can sleep. Is that what you're saying?
No.
What a contradiction, Kevin. Why don't you get them like some sleepy time tea or Excedrin PMs or something like that as incentive? So
unless there's a retailer on this call that has 100% conversion rate, I'd love to hear anything else. But I would tell you this, that
I'm just kidding.
We also have not, again, when we build, I know you are, when we build from the sales organization, right, there was so many open opportunity. For one, prospecting, right? So you're taking 10 customers, you're probably closing 3. What are you doing with the other 7, right? And that's really what, it was a tough, you know, these are questions that we knew were there, but now we're making it more accountable. So we're same thing with sleep. Like, how many customers did you test risk today? You know, and how many actually show that you sell mattresses? It says City Furniture on the door. It doesn't say City Furniture, mattresses, and more. So how many did you actually show that we sell sleep to get that impression? Because guess what? The best thing is I'm giving you an opportunity to get more at-bats by giving them a gift. And then, yeah, to Mark's point, what I'm trying to tell the customers, I know you did not invest in sleep today. But when you wake up tomorrow and I feel groggy and miserable, I at least want to get you that coffee to get through your day.
Well, Kevin, you really want to drive people crazy. You just say this Starbucks gift card is only good for caffeine-free products.
That's good, Kinsley.
Hey, this is you can tell the speed with which you're able to roll things out, try them, run that data back up the flagpole to the proper people, get feedback, pivot, and go again. I love the speed with which you're able to attack your marketplace, and you feel empowered to do it. Have you guys tried anything that really flopped, and then maybe you had some learnings from that?
I mean, I can tell you something currently that's happened. We imported sleepers mattresses, which unfortunately the team that works on our sourcing thought mattresses are all the same size. And apparently they thought a queen sleeper mattress is the same size as a regular queen mattress. And unfortunately, they weren't. So unfortunately, you learn from those kind of mistakes, which are big mistakes. But luckily, I can probably now sell a memory foam 6-inch mattress for doorbusters come Black Friday, which will be fun. But I would say that from a product development, we've obviously had our faux pas, I guess you could say. But I think really what we always do is that we always pivot. You know, we actually we have a little acronym for city for lean for city, and it means continuous improvement through you. And that's what we say to everybody, is that we're never going to be perfect, but we're always going to continually improve every day. So if we can improve every day and learn from those, and like Mark's been to our facility, I showed him, really, we sit down every month and we have our KPIs. And we have a board that literally goes through problems, countermeasures, reflections. So like every month something happens, like that, for example. What did we learn? What was the problem? What did we learn? And what's my reflection now going forward? Because there's always going to be 365 days a year. But guess what? Hopefully don't live the same one twice.
Always the hope. Kevin, we want to open this up to questions from anybody, and I'm going to get us started. And then if you have a question, make sure and maybe just kind of raise your hand and then unmute yourself. One of the things that's been on my mind is the way that consumers are coming into the marketplace right now. I know you talked about capturing them whenever they're in the search phase and they end up on your site, transitioning your sales team so they're equipped to do live chat, maybe some video aspect. When you do see people come into the market, and maybe you haven't had personal contact with them, has there been more product research on the front end? Are certain brands driving traffic into your stores? Can you see anything categorically there?
So we just got to go back to really what you're seeing in the marketplace, and that's working from home. So yeah, home office has been a big turn. We actually, again, we weren't able to, if you want to import home office, it's going to take 90 days to get here. We don't have that time. So what we did was our photo studio team actually pulled some small short dining up that we could actually shoot as home office. So we're actually bringing in dining room tables that are not as big as your 72 by 60 and shooting those as home office desks with different assortments of chairs that you can choose from, because that's one market. The second thing is we just reshot all our patio selection, because if anything, people are spending a lot more time outdoors, and we're about to go into the summer where you're going to be outdoors even more. So we're making sure to focus on those things. And like I said, for me, being the merchant of mattresses and sleep, that's my also focus, is refresh your sleep. How can I get you into a new mattress today that you're going to spend a lot more time on than you ever did before, and you're questioning that. So that's why where it comes to where I have to get into the mindset. I got to be Leonardo DiCaprio Inception, plant that in their head, so where when they wake up tomorrow after opening up their wallet and seeing that Starbucks gift card, I need a new mattress. Because we've seen the research. It takes like about 221 days for them to go from I need a new mattress to post-purchase mortem, right? So it's a long time to say. And I love doing this with in fact, we're doing a Zoom call tomorrow for all our new hires that we just brought on, because we obviously got to be careful about the contacts. But first thing I even ask them is, this will be harder on a Zoom call, but how many people actually like their mattress now? And then how many people have been thinking about buying a new mattress? And I got to tell you, I do this thing like at a wedding, like anniversary. Oh, how many people have been married for 5 years? How many people have been married for 10? I do it by like the months. Okay, have you thought about this in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? And you'd be surprised how many hands are still up for a year. And I say that's the same thing that your customers are getting. They know they need it. They just haven't been shown it yet.
What about from a brand standpoint? Do you see any product brands that are pushing people into the marketplace? Like they're finding that specific brand, they do brand research, and then they map that over
Yeah,
to City Furniture.
sorry. So I actually had the pleasure, when I came back off furlough, I got to be on the sales floor for 3 weeks. And we were doing private appointments and Zoom appointments. And every single person that came in the door literally came in with their masks on. We had our masks on. So came in and is like, show me this. Show me where this is. And it ranged, again, from bedroom, living room, dining room, but the customers were doing the research before they came in. Because one thing is that, at the time where it's still kind of questionable to be out and about. And the other thing is that it was precious because we only had 1 hour private appointment times. So they knew that they had to be pressed and ready to come in, to where our conversion rate was over 80%, but it wasn't given the opportunity to then say, let me pivot you now to show you what we can offer you in sleep. Or let me add this rug or lamp or whatever to your order because you're just turning and burning so many customers throughout. But that's where now, as we unloaded more of our associates, in fact, Memorial Day, we were able to get up to about 80% staffing. Now we're actually about 95%. We're still not staffed, to be honest with you. We need more and more people, which is great with the job market that we're in now. We can. And ideally, when people would come in, they were already designated on what they wanted. Now it's a matter of us changing that script and growing the ticket, and not because now we're not assumed with only 1 hour appointments. But yet that's where, again, for us to compete with everybody that we compete with in the marketplace is our website communicating that message. Do they know that they're going to come into it in a safe environment? We have POP, everything around the stores, social distancing, sanitation areas. We put sleep napkins. I put sleep napkins in our gallery. So literally a sleep napkin that's 60 by 80 so the customers can sleep on it. But I'm talking to you guys in our mattress gallery here at our corporate store. There's been 5 customers in here. No one cares. They're all sleeping on the mattresses. Because it's just, again, but I need to have that Band-Aid just in case you have that one customer that's still iffy about touching things, which they should be.
It's good to hear you talk about transitioning to this thought process around increasing your average tickets, because I think, that totally makes sense in terms of you've got a 1 hour slot. That's not enough time to kind of guide people through the showroom and talk about some of the other needs. But now people are trying to limit exposure is what I keep hearing. So they're not going to go out, buy a mattress, shop around for a box spring, maybe somewhere else, pillows and sheets at Sam's Club. They're going to try and get it all done in one spot. And I think it's a message that a lot of retailers are taking forward is get this all done right here so you don't have to go out, interface with more crowds. So it sounds like that's the new push. Interesting also, Kevin, to hear that people aren't that focused on having those sleep napkins. They're plopping down on the beds and saying, let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, again, the thing is we were going into the unknown. We didn't know what would come through our doors and what business that would bring. But I think what the best word I could say is preparation. You had to prepare for the storm. We get a lot of hurricanes here in South Florida. We always prepare. Sometimes they don't come by, which is great, but we're always prepared for that. And I think we weren't prepared for COVID. In fact, nobody was. And I think once you look at the post-COVID situation is, what am I doing that communicates to the customer that I want to think about their well-being and their safety, but also know that this is a welcoming environment, that everybody here is here to get to what you need, which is their project. Their project is to redo their home. And we want to make sure that we help them with that. One thing I go tell you that, in fact, it doesn't matter. I forgot about this thing I was going to say.
Well, we're gonna open up to some questions. Bob, do you have a question? Bob Munkle?
I do. I actually have 2. So first, I'm Bob Munkle, resident home, Nectar Sleep, Dream Cloud. So thanks for doing this today. Your insights are awesome, spot on. So let's begin with that. I have 2 questions. First was, you said earlier that your online transactional volume broadly was over 200% with mattresses at 270%. And again, most of that occurs while the stores close, while people are not shopping. So could you shed some light or what your insights or what your data is telling you in terms of what is the new normal once showrooms are fully open and customers are more comfortable shopping? Where do you expect that transactional volume to be online versus where it was previously? So that's question one. Question two is related to traffic in the store. We've heard anecdotally and universally that traffic in retail stores, once they began to open, was really robust for weeks. And it's theorized that there was a lot of pent-up demand of customers who would never transact online, so they were waiting for the opportunity. Have you seen that same pattern? And if so, do you think that would dissipate over time as well?
So yeah, so Bob, to answer your question, so the 2008% up was last week. Before that, it was about 650% up online. So it has gone down, but to the point where it's still comping up by double online versus prior year. So again, I mentioned this, is that I don't see where we're going to get back to normal. But my point is that you do have a market right now where everybody's at home and transacting at home. So where look at Purple. I mean, I'm sure you've seen that, is they're up 70%, 75%. And it's like, okay, well, that was someone that, again, first prior to COVID, still had that online business to where, yeah, more people are going to transact online than ever before. So I'm not saying that it's going to be in the 600% again, unless there's another, shutdown. But the thing is that people that probably weren't comfortable at first buying furniture or buying mattresses online are. And I think that, to be honest, it was already happening. The cockroach is already coming underneath the door. Amazon was already doing this. Wayfair was already doing this. So it's nothing new. But we're actually finally getting some of that share. But you could argue that would have been share that would have been in store had they would have not been able to come in. One thing I can tell you, I went to a restaurant last night, and it was, mind you, it's a Tuesday night, but come around 8 o'clock, there's 4 people in there. And I just think there's a lot of that, I'm not ready yet. I don't know what to expect yet. There's a lot of things going on in the country. It's just one thing I can tell you, we're up 10% in May. And that's the best we've seen, like overall, when you look at through a COVID crisis and versus a prior year, like a big May that you had prior year. So again, I think that a lot of it is unpent demand, and we'll just keep riding it out. I mean, we'll just keep riding this wave until it finally, goes into the shallows, and we go from there.
Thank you.
Hey, Kevin, Dave Novak, Boyd Sleep, Nautica Mattresses, relative to traffic building, which I think is probably on maybe the first thing on most people's minds. A lot of the brands that are browsed and shopped online have a store locator. Some of them are very advanced and have product level detail. Others, maybe not quite as much. How valuable or important is that in driving traffic relative to what you're already doing in your own advertising buys?
Huge. It's huge. I will co-brand with anyone to drive traffic. In fact, again, I mentioned we launched Purple 2 weeks ago. We launched it right before Memorial Day weekend. As soon as I had them go for Purple at City, and we got on their store locator, our phone lines blew up across our stores. Blew up. To where my sales associates, my GMs, my general managers, and other locations that we have, that we didn't yet transition on their floor, said, when am I going to get this on my floor? Because everyone wants to come see it. And that's all I did. All we did was go on the store locator. We didn't have time to do any type of advertising. We did some in-store POP and stuff like that, but we didn't do anything TV, radio, newspaper. And that's how big of a thing I can tell you that being on a store locator. I mean, we're, Tempur-Pedic Elite dealer. We're on SSD. We're a Diamond dealer. I mean, having that, and then also, the next step I think I can add to you is having that happen with then the reviews. If you can harness the reviews now too online with that co-relationship, that's another content driver that you really want to have.
I'm going to jump in and ask a question from Christine. She posted this to me in the messages. She said she's having some video issues. Christine, thanks for being on the call. Appreciate you being here. She said, I'd love for Kevin to expand more on how he modified his new hire training to become Zoom friendly.
Thank you.
Yeah, so how we modify, well, I would say modify. This will be the first time we do it tomorrow. So
Okay.
I would say that it's nothing new to people though. that everybody was doing, you know, I mean, my wife probably every Friday night during COVID was on a Zoom happy hour call with her girlfriends and never used Zoom before in her life. And all these people that we're bringing in have been able to, at what point, use Zoom through COVID. So for us to train and communicate to our associates, the only thing I can tell you that is going to be hard is the engagement. I like to engage with people. I like to ask questions and get a response. So I actually have a dry run this afternoon with my associate that we're going to be doing this together. And who knows? But I got to tell you, it's nothing new. In fact, I got to tell you, when we were doing this sales-wise, when I was here for 3 weeks and was doing Zoom sale calls with customers, that was a whole thing where literally an associate would hold the iPad. You're still standing in front presenting the product to the customer, and I can't see that customer. The customer is literally facing the other, like, can't see the other guy, but I can't see him when the iPad's turned. So, like, it's a really different type of interaction, but it's still an interaction. In fact, at one point during the COVID, one of my kids got a sick or got an issue. We did WebMD. I mean, amazing. We didn't have to go anywhere. They gave us different suggestions on what we should do. And that's it. But that's really what we're here for. We're here to give you suggestions. We're here to help you through the process to where people need that. Like, people want to get that second opinion or just want to know more, we're all on this call here asking questions and we want to know more. We want to engage. Like, that's one thing. Like, I can't shut up when I was on Zoom because I'm an extrovert. I need to speak. I need to talk. And being in COVID was the worst prison for me at all. I couldn't interact with anybody. So you can imagine how I was when I got back to work.
Oh, I understand completely. I'm a training specialist. That's what I do. So that's what I'm in the process of working on right now for my dealers, is creating Zoom friendly or video type training. And the engagement was really what I was curious of how you were handling it, because that's so important to me as well.
Yeah. So tomorrow morning we're going to do the intro to sleep. And I go through behind me is our test rush process. We go through a test rush process with the associate, and we then show them all the accessories that we go into with the sheets, the pillows, and stuff. But again, these are new hires. These are people that have never sold a mattress, maybe in some cases coming from a different industry. But then the next step is we have our we are going to have our vendors come on and do their Zoom calls with their trainers. And I can tell you that one of the things we're trying to do too is actually record this content. Because if the content is good, and I mean good, all we have to do is then show recordings, because we have a lot of technology here. So like all of our sales are transacted on an iPad. We partner with IBM and Apple to create the software, and it's the best in class. And from there, we also have a lot of training modules. We actually use this training platform called Exonify, to where we upload communications and upload training to that, and they have to go through it. In fact, it docs how many times you've gone in. And in fact, today I'm doing the ultimate update meeting with our sales staff about the test rest. And the GM literally said, guys, we got this safety communication that I know it's a 30-minute long video, but 16 of you have not done it yet. So they were able to track that learning too, which is important.
Good.
Hey,
good luck tomorrow.
I'm just curious. Hey, Christine, I'm curious from your perspective, like, what are your plans to keep it interesting and make it fun? Or
for me,
because you're talking about doing it too. Can you share some of your thoughts on maybe what your plans are going to be?
Well, right now we're in the process, like I was saying to Kevin, in converting our in-person new hire training to be able to be Zoom friendly and try to incorporate engagement activities, exercises with the new hires at the same time. I've used Mentimeter, so I can get engagement with quizzes or interaction from the audience. I've done a few trainings with my dealers throughout the whole COVID process. And, they've been small groups, so it's been easy to get a little bit of feedback. We're working on doing video series similar to what Kevin was talking about, so that it would be a whole onboarding process with different video series, and then post work from there.
Typically recommending to
Mentimeter? Well, I actually learned about it from watching all these webinars throughout COVID. I'm still stuck at home. I'm still not physically in my stores, but Mentimeter is a site where you can incorporate quizzes and interaction with people throughout Zoom and different webinars.
That's really cool. I had not heard of that. Thank you for sharing.
See if we can
Oh,
post
you're
that in the
welcome.
comments here.
Mentimeter. MENTIMETER.
Yes.
Okay, Quinn, do you want to post that in the
I
chat here
got
to
you,
everyone?
Kinsley. Yep,
Awesome.
I got it.
Well, Kevin, this has been a great session. And next week is our last campfire call. So thank you everybody for being here. Kevin, is there anything you want to leave us with that maybe somebody didn't ask, or any kind of final parting thoughts as we continue navigating this thing together?
I would just say just believe in your people. Your people are what are going to get you through this. Have faith in them, empower them, make them go outside the box and come up with different ideas, because if there's any time to get around and problem solve and find suggestions on how you improve your business, it's through your people. That's pretty much it.
It's a great way to end
Kevin,
it.
can you please share with everyone your favorite mattress industry podcast?
Oh, it's Dos Marcos, hands down. Until I come up with one.
Yeah, we gotta get the Kevin
The
Split podcast going at some point.
It's the
We just want to
finest
be on it.
podcast in the galaxy.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob.
Well, guys and gals, thank you so much for being here. Enjoyed it. It's nice to see everybody's faces. We appreciate you. Next week, we're going to have Trent Ramberger to wrap up our 6-week series, and then we can figure out what we want to do. I think the timing is actually pretty good because things are starting to emerge and kind of shake out in their own way, but we'll figure out what kind of a continuation of staying connected looks like. Kevin, thanks a million for being here. Thanks for answering all the questions that we had for you. Thanks for your enthusiasm and energy. And some point, I want to come down and see City Furniture firsthand. I'm excited about it.
Come on, everybody's more than welcome.
Hey, Kevin, we need to do that festival again, Kinsley. That's when we need to go. We can do a show live right from the beer tent. And is Trent Trent going to bring Lil Trent for the Zoom call? Are we going to get Trent and Lil Trent both?
I think we should make that a mandatory.
Right.
I think we should.
Hey, Kevin, thank you. Little self-serving. If you like the idea that purple drives traffic, there might be another brand out there, begins with an N, that can also do that. But I know a guy.
And Nestle, you want to sell chocolate?
Well, yeah, that is really good insight, though, on how brands and store locator does map to traffic coming in the store. And I have heard it about that N brand from other dealers. Roger, who was featured as our retailer in the round here in Campfire Calls, did mention that, Bob, about Nectar. So that's a good capture for us, especially as we continue this conversation about foot traffic. So that one definitely gets an earmark on it. Frank, I see you just hopped on here. We only have like 1 minute left.
Yeah, no, I was on another call and I just appreciate it. I thought I could catch a little bit more. Sounded like a robust conversation, though.
We recorded everything, and we're starting to put some of the stuff on YouTube just so we can continue to share it with people, or we can go back and revisit some of those points. So we'll have this up there on YouTube.
That's really good.
Frank,
we appreciate what you do.
We talked about you for at least half of it, Frank. You're going to want to go back and listen.
It was only the first half, though. It was only the first half.
And I was going to start with condolences, Mark, and I still will.
I still will. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Frank. Good to see your face, man. I appreciate
Likewise.
you a bunch. Thank you.
All right. Well, next week, 10:30 Central, same time. It'll be our last one with Trent. And everybody have a great week. And if you have any questions or follow up, or you want me to connect you to anybody else in this little group, just email me, mark@englander.com, and I will get all the dots connected.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kevin.